Hi everyone. So we're taking a quick look today at book folds for greetings cards, and I'm going to take you on at the end to something very exciting. So this is a brief recap of stuff that we've done tutorials for in the past. There's no measurements, alright, you're going to just go by eye and what you've got in your stash. So I've taken a piece of card, any size, and folded it in half. Okay, I'm then going to take my scoreboard and I'm opening out my card, and I want to score a spine down this edge. Okay, so I'm going to open it out, and on this side I'm scoring just anything. Okay, so when I look at that, it's got a nice spine to it, and this is the front cover of my book. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just open that, burnish that down, burnish my main fold. Okay, and all I'm going to do in a minute is prepare this to be stuck down. So you can use anything, but we want to decorate this panel first. So let's take a look at what I've got here. I think we're going for that pretty blue. Sorry, green, not blue. There we go. And I'm going to measure now what I made the spine, and that is 3.5. So I want to cut a strip now that is 3 centimetres wide. Now I've got my ruler with the grid that we covered last time in the tutorial, and I'm going to take that and I'm just going to cut a strip. Right, put that to one side for the moment, we'll come back to that. This now is a strip that will go down there with just a little border either side of it. Don't worry about the length. Right. So I'm going to take this and come down the sides. Yep. Right, take this and I let it overhang top and bottom. There we go. Take it inside, and I want to tape down these little overhangs. So folding it inside, and then you get a really neat edge top and bottom. Okay, so we're going to place double-sided tape down here because we're going to fix this spine in place there, so it's only this bit that opens on your card. So before I do that, I want to put an insert piece in here. So quick way of doing it, no measuring. I'm going to pop a piece of tape down there and take it off there. I'm going to just pop this in there. Doesn't matter if it's not exactly straight, because I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to trim off the excess. Okay. So when I open that, tiny little burr there, take that off. When I open the card, that's completely lined, and I can now release these pieces here and fold that down. Clear my rubbish out the way. So there's our basic card. We've got this strip down here. It's lined inside, and now we're going to look very quickly at decorating something on the front of our card. Right, I found myself a nice topper that will go on, but I will need to reduce it down a bit. So I'm going to take my ruler here, and I'm going to use my grid to just take a fraction off. Okay. Go, and I think I'm going to take a look. I'll take a fraction off this side as well. Be prepared to work with what you have to hand. It's easy to look at somebody's demonstration and want to produce exactly the same thing, but make it yours. So there we have a nice panel that is going to go on the front of my card. So I take that and I'm going to stick it straight down on a piece that matches this. Here's my paper I was working with, so I'm going to place that on there. I'm now going to take my ruler, and I'm just going to use this edge piece here, line it up there, and I'm going to cut a border all the way around, just lining up the same amount all the way round. Last one. So now I have a border that's matching into that, and I think I'd like something to make it jump off the page. So I'm going to add, I think, a touch of silver. Just take our silver, it will go on that way. Right. All of this is done without any specific measurements, right, without dies. All I've used is the ruler, scoreboard and a craft knife. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it on there with a very small border, because I'm going to use the metal edge here just to give me a tiny border all the way around. I don't want it to be too noticeable. It's just something that will help lift my card. So okay. I now have, that's better. There, so that's going to be the front of my card, which is like a book. And I'm going towards the top so I've left myself enough room to do a die cut greeting if I want to, or just a simple panel. So I've got plenty of green left and plenty of silver. So that will go across there. When you open it, there's a lovely insert on your card, and it gives the impression of a book. So if we didn't have a card that big, this is 6 by 6 or 15 centimetres, this is a pre-folded card, so I can just place it onto there and score down. Doesn't matter where, because then I can simply work with this one, whatever size, and I can do my measurements as to how big to do the piece that goes down. There we go. So a simple book fold. Okay, and decorate with whatever you have to hand. Okay, now we're going to take a look at making it a little bit more complicated. Right, so I'm going to fold my card in half. No templates at all for this, you're going to do it entirely on your own. So we're going to take my card, and this time again I want a spine coming down here. So I'm going to open it out. This is the front page, so I want my spine on here, and again no measurements, just by eye. I'm going to go that one there, so that when I fold my card back again, I have this spine exactly the same as we did with the first card. Now we're going to treat it very differently. I am going to measure what I've done here, which is 3.5 centimetres. So I'm going to the top of my card, and I'm going to get my pencil, and I'm going to measure the same distance here. Doesn't matter whether you're using inches or whatever. So I'm going to then go across there as far as my score line. Now I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to cut that line until I get to the score line. There we go. Now I'm going to draw it in, but you don't have to. I'm going to take my pencil from there, and I want a gentle curve that goes round. Now I'm going to make it darker, but I wanted to show you that you can use bits that you have around the house. So I'm going to use my tape roll, and I'm going to make it so you can see it, hopefully. And I've just done this gentle curve. Right, now I'm going to open my card out, and I'm going to continue round and cut that curve there. It's important that you keep this. You can see that the book is starting to come together. Right, this is the bit that we've cut off. I'm going to slide it down, place it on the bottom of my card there. My score line matches, and I'm going to take my pencil and draw that same curve at the bottom. Okay, this time I'm cutting through 2 layers. And I'm cutting that curve off. See how our book is coming together? So that there. Still keep hold of this. So that was where we cut it from. We're going to slide it across until my score line is level with the edge of the card. And then I'm going to make another line up there. So I've done the same angle of curve there, there and there. Right. Suddenly, this then brings the whole thing to look exactly like a book. Okay, so very simple. Then you can take excuse me, your ruler, and I tend to just gently do the curve there. And then on the inside of the book, you can use gold pen, you can use felt tips. I'm just doing random lines. They don't have to worry if they're going to be odd shapes, because when you look at a book, the pages are sometimes open a little bit, and this will look entirely natural. So I'm going to come from here now. Alright, so there's no spacing. All you're looking for is the book pages effect. Alright, now I'm going to leave that because I've got that little bit there and it looks as though the book is slightly open. Okay, close the book, and there is our base card that we can make to look anything that we want. So remember that we had this piece, I think I said this is again 3.5, so I'm going to look at another piece of paper. I think we're going to go for this one. So just use anything that you have, and I'm going to cut a piece that is 3 centimetres. Okay, because our spine was 3.5. Go. So there's that. I'm going to come onto there. Now, the problem comes that you need to cut this angle here. So I'm going to put a little mark up there and a little mark there, a little mark there. Now that would go the entire spine, but I want to cut it fractionally shorter. So I'm going to go from there, and I'm just going to cut this so it's a bit shorter there, and place that on there. So I'm using that same curve test it on here before we glue it, and I've got my white edge all the way round. The curve is exact, so we're going to stick that down. Now you can choose to keep that curve piece and use it on other books, but I like to vary the size of the spine, so I tend to just cut one each time I need it. So, if you're particular about the positioning, then just fold a couple of bits back on your tape. This means that you can place it on, get it right there, and when you're sure, press down on the pieces that you've exposed and then just pull the rest of the flap, and it's down exactly where you wanted it. Okay. Now I'm going to measure this piece here, and I'm going to reduce it down a bit, so I'm going for 10 by 16. Okay, so right, it's disappeared, my trimmer's disappeared. So I'm going to measure 10, 10, and 16. Always do two measurements. Right. So I'm going to show you two different versions of this one. So this bit, I've now cut it smaller so I can have a panel on there and I can put silver all the way round. So that's one option. The second option is to take a panel here. I could cut that down again a little bit. So I've got a nice rectangle to go on there. So I could either go with that on there and have a full panel. I could go with just decoupage on the front there. But I think what I'm going to do is to use that and put that onto there with a nice border all the way round and adjust that. Be prepared to change your mind as you're going along, because you'll suddenly realise that you've got something that will be just perfect. So I'm going to match up two edges to give myself a nice border, and then trim if I need to. There, so I've got a nice border all the way round. Right. Let's check how that fits. That's coming along nicely, but I think I'd like a little bit extra sparkle to it. So I'm going to take my piece of silver. Always stick it down. Don't rely on cutting a piece and then getting it back in the correct place. Place that onto there, and then we're going to go with fancy scissors. So let's see what I've got. A scalloped pair of scissors here. Now, with fancy scissors, where I've got the points of the scissors, I'm putting those points right along the edge of the lilac paper. Never go to the end of your scissors. And what we will have is a beautiful narrow border that just gives a little bit of a highlight of colour. Turn round, and again my scissors are going right the way along, just coming to the edge of the purple. If I was to try and cut this the right size and then fit this on, I have macular degeneration, so it would be virtually impossible for me to get it accurate. This way I am fine, that I know when I finish cutting it will be perfect. Clear rubbish. Now let's have a look at this. You can see that just that tiny bit of silver all the way round has lifted my card. So let's stick that one on. So position it so that it's the same border all the way round. And there is my beautiful book card, okay, with plenty of room to write on the inside. Okay, so let's pull back this one. This one, the spine is actually fixed down. Okay, let's go to this one that we prepared. So this one, the spine is fixed down and this bends. This one, you don't bend the score line, you're using it just as a decorative strip, and there is your card. Okay, so two beautiful cards that need really nothing more than a few scraps of decorative paper and your ruler and a scoreboard. Okay, so we're going to come back in a minute and we're going to just see what we can do to make a 3D book. Okay, so what we're going to look at now, we've done a couple of flat book cards. Now we're going to have a look at a 3D one, and to all intents and purposes it looks like a book, and it can be a gift box, it can be so much more, but I'm not going to give away too much information because there's a real exciting tutorial coming up where I'm going to show you to take it further. Okay, so this is a very simple one which just opens and it's got the card actually in there. It's a statement piece, but you wait until you see on the next tutorial what we actually do with the basics. So have a go playing with this one first, and then we'll carry on next time. So I have made this out of scraps of mount board that I get from my local framers, and it's very good for constructing all sorts of things. But if we have a look here, I've done exactly the same thing with an old box that I had with a delivery in it, and I've got two pieces. It doesn't matter what size it is, all right? Two pieces exactly the same. And what I've done then is to cut two strips, right, that are the same length, right, and two pieces that are the same width. Okay, so that's going to make your complete book. So it really doesn't matter what you do with it. Right, I have two pieces of mount board here, and the actual nice thing with the mount board from framers is that they've often cut out several pieces all the same, and this is the scrap from inside. So I ended up with a stack of bits that are all standard frame sizes. Okay, so I have cut myself 2 pieces. I've cut myself 2 pieces that are the length and 2 pieces that are the width. Okay, so long as it's substantial, it doesn't matter what you're cutting it out of. So what we're going to do now is, the only extra thing that is helpful is this duct tape, which I do use a lot for construction because it's got a very strong laminate in it that allows you to make things like books and things that are really, really strong. So what I'm going to do is to place that on there, and I'm going to stick my first piece down. This is the bottom of the book. I'm going to try not to knock my microphone. Now the next thing excuse me, we're doing is we want to put one of the side pieces on. Now we need it to bend, so I'm going to put a piece of mount board down there, and I'm going to match this to it. So I've ended up with a little gap all the way down. Okay, so that's my first one. There. Trim off the excess. And I'm going to just fold this edge in. I fold to the middle and then run my fingers out. Fold to the middle, run my fingers out. And that way I'm getting a really nice finish on here. Okay, so that is what the base and the side. Now I'm going to have a look at putting top and bottom on, and we want to do exactly the same process. So take that, lay that onto there. My next piece goes on, and I'm doing this one by eye, but if you feel that you need to put a spacer in, there we go. Trim off your excess. You're going to stick them all together in a minute, but it's helpful not to have all the other bits hanging over. Right, turn it round. I'm going to do this top edge. There. I'm laying that on. That piece, and trim off. Fold to the middle and then go out. So let's see what we've got now. We've got the 2 sides coming up there. That's going to make our box, and now we want to attach this next piece along here. So I'm going to place that onto there. I've left this piece to last because this one is important. So I'm going to tapping down. It's far easier doing the duct tape with a knife, right, because it doesn't get gummed up like it will with the scissors. Right, so what I need to do now is attach the spine and the front bit of the book that will flop over. Okay, so I'm going to take my spine, and again I'm leaving my little gap, but this time instead of folding this over, I'm attaching that. Now let's have a look. Turn it over. I'm going to make sure all of these are well fixed down, and when we put it together, that is going to be my book, and that is going to be the lid that comes over. So I'm going to place some duct tape on my glass mat, because I want to make myself some pieces to do the sides. So pick that up. Right, I'm going to then take that piece onto the corner, pull it together, and fix my corner really tightly. Okay, take the next bit. So you can use this for just a gift box. Works really well. I'm really excited to show you next time, what we do really special. There, and my last one is this one. There we go. So don't worry about this falling. If it falls in, it's fine. Now, okay, so we have our basic box. It's all really sturdy. We're going to look at how we decorate it. Now, the first thing I like to decorate is this spine piece here. So whatever depth you've made it, and if you remember, we didn't measure. Okay, I've left my ruler. Okay, this one is just over 2 centimetres. So your box can be whatever depth you want, and when we get to designing other bits, you'll see that it really doesn't matter. So I've got myself some pieces of card here. Now this is the exact length. This is just normal card for card making, and we're going to find some pieces of paper. You will need quite a few that are toning pieces or all the same. So if you look at this one, I've done this paper. This is its toning one, but you'll need certainly front and back the same. So here is my spine one, and I'll fish out some paper to go with it. Right, so I've sorted myself a couple of pieces of decorative paper and one which is going to be plain for my spine. Okay, so we're going to take the one for the spine first, and I've got myself a piece of card that will go right the way down the back, and we're going to take this. I knew we'd sorted one out. And we're going to take this and stick it down on my paper, a small amount in. Now I tend to use the tape as a measure all the way round. No measuring exact pieces of paper. I'm going to roughly cut that off and chop that. So all I've really done now is to put my double-sided tape all the way round and given myself a little bit extra. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just chopping all the corners, but I'm not going absolutely to the outside. I've got a little bit of give here on every corner, and you'll see why next. I'm going to take the short piece, try and tidy up as I go. I'm taking off the short piece, folding it over and sticking it down tight against my piece of card. Turn it over and do that. I always do the short ones first if I can. Right. Now I'm going to take off a long piece. There we go. And what I want to do before I fold it over is to get my thumb and just push gently on that corner to fold in a tiny smidgen of paper. Okay, go to the middle, fold to the middle and move your fingers out. Right, come over here. Take off my tape, get my thumb and just push in a fraction. Push in a fraction, fold over to the middle and move my fingers out to the outside. And I've got a perfectly covered piece of card and all my corners are beautifully finished. Okay. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to put double-sided tape down. Now I could do with just taking that off and putting another layer down. I want to make sure this is fixed nice and firmly. Bring in my book and I'm going to place that onto there, lining up my edges. Beautiful. So there is the spine of my book done. Okay. Right, now we're going to do front and back, and these sides, if we look, I've got my tape that I used for fixing. Okay, so we will deal with that later. We're going to make some edges that look like the edge of the pages. So this is our next one, and I've cut two pieces of card that are exactly the same size as this. Again, you're working to whatever size you want, and we don't want this to move, so we're fixing it down on the back of our paper. Right, so I'm giving myself a border all the way round so I can fold in, and we're going round with the tape scissors, and because I've got my tape on already, I can just roughly cut, not worrying too much. Okay, no measuring. And again, I'm going to take my scissors and cut just a short way away from the corner of my card. So let's try and bring that up, and you can see that there's a tiny bit here where I haven't gone right up against the card. Go to the shortest side, fold that over in the middle and fingers out. Turn it round, go to my next shortest side, fold it over, fingers out. Okay, now comes the magic little dent. So I'm going to take that. It can help to take that off first. A little dent on that corner, a little dent on that corner, fold it over, fingers out, and we have absolutely perfect mitered corners. Okay, turn it round, a little dent on that side, little dent on that side, fold it over, fingers to the middle and outwards. There is my piece of card beautifully covered. Now I want to make sure that this is firmly fixed. So I'm going to take my double-sided tape. I'm going down both edges, and then I'm going to take some wet glue. And I'm going to put my wet glue in here. The double-sided tape is just going to help hold it while this dries. It only takes a few minutes. But let's bring in my book, and I'm going to do the back one first. So I want to line it up. There's the spine. That we show the spine there. I want to work away from the spine, and you're going to have it that it will hang over a fraction all the way round. It's only a minute amount. Right, so there is the back of my box finished. There is the spine, and I'm going to go on and cover the front and then show you fixing it to the front page. Right, so here I've got my piece that I've covered, and I've put on some double-sided tape all the way round and my glue. Right. So I'm going to open that up, and again I want to match to the spine, and the rest will hang over a fraction of an inch. Now when this hangs over a fraction of an inch on this edge, if I can bring that up, that is what stops your front page disappearing down into the book. So you've now got a nice finish. You can add magnets inside to close this if you wish. You can add a title down the spine or a greeting, and you can decorate the front and indeed the inside. So let's open that up. you've got plenty of room on here to add anything you wish. And on here I've just covered the inside and a panel on the back piece here to just decorate the inside. But let's see how we just finish off with these pieces around. So I've got pieces of card that are the same length and width. So there we go. So we want 2 short pieces and a long piece. And we're going to cover those with the matching one that we used for the spine. You'll see how the video that we did earlier making the book pieces, it all ties in, and your skills that you learn with one thing cross over to the next one. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to stick them down, giving myself a small area all the way round. If you want to put the tape on, that's fine, to give you a guide to cut round. Right, okay, let's get rid of that. But it doesn't need to be exact, so I'm going across there, and top and bottom of that one. Turn it round. See how easy this becomes. Nothing's measured. When I say nothing's measured, all I've done is taken all my sizing off the piece of cards that I had in the beginning from scrap. Down through there. Yep. And we want to do the corners. This is much softer card and softer paper, so it's a lot easier. All I'm doing, leaving a tiny piece on each corner. I'm not throwing it on the floor, I have got a bin there. So always start with your shortest pieces, fold over, fold over, remove the next one, and little dent on the corners, fold to the middle and out with your fingers. Remove this, dent on each corner, fold to the middle and out. There's our first strip for the pages. Here's our next one. Fold over, fold over, once you've dented them, fold in and fingers out. Fold in, fingers out. And the last one is our long one, which is dealt with in exactly the same way. fold in the short edges. Take this little dent on each corner, fold over and out, little dent on each corner, fold to the middle and out. We've now got our 3 pieces that are going to go down the edges of our box to look like pages. So here we've got one, the other short one and the long one. Okay, now if you recall when we did the shaped book card, which I seem to have buried, this one we did these lines across for the fake pages. So we're going to do exactly the same with this one, and let me see how thick this pen. Right, I'm going to go with a thicker pen. So I'm going to go with just small little repeated lines all the way down on all of the pieces, and then we will come back and fix them on. Right, now I've prepared my 3 strips. I've only actually done the pages on 2 strips because I wanted to show you if you left them plain. Now this is my opening piece, so I want to make sure that this is placed so it does not come over that edge. It doesn't matter if it goes slightly down to the bottom, but this is the edge that you want to be careful of. Right, here's another one that I've prepared with the page lines. So one's onto there, and this one I've left blank so that you could see if you don't want to start drawing all the lines. Okay, so there is my book open, and I can decorate the inside pages and prepare the back piece. In the next tutorial I will show you all sorts of wonders of what you can put inside, but spend some time playing with the ideas, and don't be afraid to use cardboard. It comes in all thicknesses. This is what they call a double wall. If I can bring that up, you can see hopefully that there are 2 walls on this card, but you can get single walls, which is a lot thinner but still strong because it's got this corrugated bit down through. But have a look what you've got around that you can do all sorts, and all you need is 2 pieces that will be front and back, and then measure your side pieces to match any depth. You'll see as we do other ideas in the next video, by just changing the depth of these side walls, oh, you'll be so surprised at what we do. Okay, so you want 2 pieces that are the width and 2 pieces that are the length. Okay, so do have a go, decorate it exactly how you want it done. If I pull in, I've got a topper that's made here. That would be beautiful on the front. And think of it as a gift box as well. What if I had a greenhouse on the front, and inside I did gift packets of seeds for a gardener? Right, there is just one idea. Wait until you see the next video. God bless you all. Enjoy your crafting.